Thank you, Chair Nels and Ranking Member Carson for holding today's hearing on AAM, a very innovative and growing aviation sector, part of that sector. But before we discuss the promising future of aviation, we have to acknowledge the current state of the broader system, which looks much different than when this subcommittee last met 6 months ago. Since then, U.S. aviation has been pushed to unprecedented limits, from the tragic crash of a UPS flight near Louisville to mass flight delays and cancellations across the country, and the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. However, thanks to the hard-working women and men of the entire aviation workforce, the traveling public safety remained a top priority and does to this day. These dedicated individuals worked longer hours under immense pressure and scrutiny, and for many, worked without pay, yet they never wavered from their service to this country and their duty to ensure aviation safety. We have to avoid history repeating itself. That's why I'm very pleased to join Chair Graves and Chair Nels and Ranking Member Carson to introduce the Aviation Funding Solvency Act. This bipartisan bill guarantees the aviation safety workforce will be paid and keeps the Federal Aviation Administration operating during government shutdowns. The future of U.S. aviation and AAM depends on a fully staffed and resourced FAA. Our legislation will prevent any lapses in the agency's ability to focus on safety in the future. This committee first explored the safe integration of new entrants, including AAM aircraft, nearly a decade ago. What was once considered an aviation technology of distant future is happening now. In fact, I didn't invent the Jetsons, but I think I used the Jetsons as a metaphor about 9 years ago when we first started talking about this. And we're not quite there yet, but these innovations are in fact emerging in U.S. skies. While the potential applications of AAM from cargo transport to passenger air taxi service are promising, we always have to prioritize safety, which is why the 24 reauthorization bill law directed the FAA to release a final special federal aviation regulation, or SFAR, outlining powered lift aircraft certification, operating, and pilot qualification requirements. The SFAR creates the regulatory framework necessary to allow AAM operations to safely scale so the U.S. can remain a leader in aerospace innovation. So, Mr. Clark, I'm glad to see Beta's recent flight tests of the ALIA CX-300 in Northwest Washington State, and I look forward to hearing more about your experience navigating this SFAR process. Now, although certification is the main goal for many stakeholders, it cannot be the only objective. The successful adoption of these technologies depends on community acceptance and the state's ability to prepare for future operations. Therefore, the AAM industry and FAA must have early, transparent, and meaningful engagement with states and local communities to ensure their priorities and concerns are addressed. In fact, the FAA authorization law in 24 creates opportunities for the voices of local communities to be heard, including by extending an FAA pilot program that I championed to help states plan for AAM infrastructure development. And so, Mr. Picoraro, I'm interested in hearing more about the important role states are playing in infrastructure development and the sales recommendations on improving that partnership with the FAA and industry. And the emergence of AAM also helps create jobs in the U.S., with the latest projections estimated to be more than 280,000 high-paying AAM jobs by 2035. To help meet this demand, the 2024 FAA reauthorization invests $60 million annually to grow the pilot, aviation maintenance, and manufacturing workforces. However, the administration has indefinitely delayed these very popular and very effective workforce grants. A highly skilled aviation workforce is critical to allowing the U.S. to leverage AAM technology and compete globally, and I urge the administration to finally issue these grants. And with each passing year, climate change continues to be a growing threat to millions of Americans, and the electric propulsion systems employed by many of these new aircraft rely on low and zero emission technologies, which can significantly reduce the harmful impacts of greenhouse gases. So continued federal investment in cleaner aviation technologies is critical to our leadership in AAM, and it's good for local communities. So, Mr. Painter, I look forward to learning more about WISC's electric propulsion aircraft and necessary charging infrastructure to support your operations. With safety as a guiding principle, the FAA reauthorization law established the necessary framework to safely scale AAM in the United States, grow the aviation workforce, invest in cleaner aviation technology, and partner with states and local communities on future operations. So I do want to say, it may sound like I'm bragging about the FAA authorization law that we passed in 2024, but you all deserve great thanks on this committee for seeing the future and taking care of these issues, showing this committee does do its work. And frankly, I want to say I'm glad we're back to work in this committee as well. So I look forward to exploring how we can all support the safe and efficient integration of these new entrants in the airspace. With that, I yield back.